Welcome to another LSCI mini webinar. Today we'll be reviewing some of the key points of our recent recording of When Employees Don't Follow the Safety Rules webinar. If you're a client and would like access to that full webinar, give us a call. If you're not a client, why not? So why are employees not listening? Typically, employees have a belief that resembles one of the following. It won't happen to me. I've worked here for 30 years and never had an accident. Doing it the safe way takes too long. PPE is uncomfortable. Safety is just common sense, or one of many other excuses. If you are hearing things like this from your employees, they have not bought into safety. It is important for you to understand your risks as an employer for your employees' insubordination. Things like OSHA fines, repeat OSHA fines, decreased employee morale, increased accidents and workman's comp rates, increased mod rates, higher turnover, and many more. So how can you respond when an employee tells you they've never had an accident? Ask them, who has ever planned an accident? There are over 4,000 deaths on the job in 2014. That's 13 deaths a day. Most of those people have never had an accident before. You can also remind them that you have a responsibility to protect them. LSCI recommends using one of the following depending on which you believe will be most well received. First, you could use the moral rationale. You don't want to call their mother, father, spouse, brother with quote-unquote bad news. Second, you could use the legal rationale. Your organization must abide by the laws to stay in business. Third, you could use the business rationale. It's cheaper for you to be proactive than reactive, and for them to have a job, you need to stay in business. Another way to get your employees to listen is to effectively communicate the importance of safety. People are likely to follow the rules when they understand them. Even more important, they're more likely to follow those rules when they understand why the rules exist. People are more likely to comply when they understand why they need to comply. Training is your opportunity to get that message across. It is very important you are willing to take steps to discipline your employees. The goal is not to make examples out of people, but to show that the rules apply to everyone. We also recommend getting your employees involved with their own corrective actions. If they help determine the steps they need to take to improve, it is much more likely they will follow those steps. For those of you that don't have a disciplinary policy in place, here are some elements you may want to include. Counseling sessions, taking the time to speak directly with your employees about their behavior. Verbal warnings, letting them know that they've broken a rule and informing them that this warning will be documented. Written warnings, having them sign off on a warning and potentially having them write down their own corrective actions. Suspension, unpaid mandatory time off, or even termination. It is important to communicate each step with your employees and to be clear on what the next step is going to be. What happens when you've done all you can and you've done your best, but OSHA still observes a violation? If you can prove with documentation, and that part's key, that you have followed the advice above, this could very well fall under unpreventable employee misconduct. In these cases, OSHA may dismiss all citations and monetary penalties. We've seen this happen. Recently, we've had OSHA come on site and walk away with no citations or monetary penalties simply for having all that documentation in place. Remember, it all starts with upper management. Be honest with yourself. Have you done everything you can? Are you taking steps to improve your safety culture? If not, please watch our webinar on building a safety culture and see what you can start doing today. Need help? Give us a call. LCI offers free online one-on-one consultations to determine what your safety needs are. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this informative.